Because our catchment area is very diverse, we at Sand Hill Center strive to respect everyone by being as culturally competent as possible. We all have biases based on where we come from and also preconceived assumptions of others. However, in the workplace, we must put those biases or assumptions aside in an effort to successfully work in a multicultural environment. Being culturally competent entails making sure that everyone has equal access to services, being aware of one's own culture, especially as it relates to interventions, acquiring relevant skills and behaviors needed to provide appropriate care, and also the ability to communicate effectively with diverse groups for information exchange. Being culturally competent begins with evaluating oneself. Click on the link here to take the Quality of Culture quiz so that you can learn more about how culture influences healthcare and to also learn to evaluate your own level of cultural competence. It takes about 10 minutes. Notice here you have some figures about the diversity of Sand Hill Center catchment area. We have our 9 counties that we service, and I want you to notice some of the statistics here. Notice that as far as our counties are concerned, we have in our catchment area Hispanics and Latinos, a large percentage in the Lee County area, as well as Montgomery County. So making sure that we have information in Spanish for those members is very important. Notice also that we have a large American Indian Alaskan population in Hope County. So making sure that our services that we deliver are culturally competent for those cultures is very important. As far as other cultures, you want to notice that as far as African Americans are concerned, Anson County has a large population, and as we go through this slideshow, we'll look at different things as it relates to specific cultures. Over the age of 65, you want to notice that we have a large population in Moore County and also in Montgomery County. As far as ESL is concerned, Randolph County has a large population. So this kind of gives you an idea of the diversity of the various counties in our catchment area. According to the Diversity Training University International, there are 3 key components for developing cultural competence. And those components are becoming aware, your attitude, and also acquiring knowledge. Being culturally aware means that we recognize our own biases and beliefs and thus are more conscious of our reactions to diverse groups. We recognize the diversities within cultures, including our own, and also we realize that cultural differences do affect how we practice healthcare and also how we go about dispensing services. Attitude. We become culturally competent also requires an open mind to learning about other cultures and the impact on services. Knowledge, the third component of becoming culturally competent, requires us to gain an understanding of an individual member needs, their related history, and also their preferred intervention. Being culturally competent means recognizing such things as gestures, meaning different things for different cultures, also understanding cultural male-female interactions, as well as the impact that religious beliefs have on medical treatment. The diversity of our catchment area includes deaf and blind members, and thus we must be able to provide resources for them and for their families. The links here are examples of various resources that are available, and you can click on the links to see those resources. Our catchment area is also made up of members who English is not their primary language, and thus interpreters may be needed. Staff should consider these guidelines when selecting interpreters. It is generally recommended to get a professional interpreter over a family member. Knowledge of cultural norms for different ethnic groups is always helpful. We don't want to use that knowledge to stereotype, but to assist us in working effectively with the member. A few cultural norms noted here is that often African Americans have a discomfort and mistrust of the healthcare system, while we see Arabic Americans want family included in the healthcare decisions being made. The Hispanic Latino culture value friendliness as well as family and friends. For Muslims, their religious practices have to be considered in healthcare decisions, and Native Americans, Alaskans, like a blend of Western and also traditional healing practices. Cultural competence also means that one is aware of the impact that such barriers as poor or substandard housing, disabilities, and transportation have on member treatment and healthcare access. Substandard houses can lead to respiratory infections and also asthma. Mental health issues stem from excessive indoor temperatures and damp, moldy indoor conditions. Other mental health issues found in people who live in substandard housing include social isolation, lack of social interaction, and also behavioral problems in children. People with disabilities tend to have more health issues, but they have greater unmet health care needs. Also, health promotions and prevention activities seldom target them. A survey of disabled people with serious mental disorders showed that 76 to 85% received no treatment the year prior to the study because of a high cost or limited availability of services, or physical barriers and or inadequate skills, knowledge of the health workers. Lack of reliable transportation also prevents some from getting to appointments or requires them to reschedule, and this leads to delays in their clinical interventions and appropriate treatment. Delayed medication use and poor management of chronic illnesses. Being aware of how illiteracy or inadequate health literacy drives healthcare costs up, and how diversity contributes to disparity in healthcare. And thus, we must become change agents for finding solutions. Sandhill Center does follow a cultural competence plan and also has a cultural competency resource booklet that has great resources available throughout the area. The link for cultural competence pointers is very important. So hopefully you will use these resources as you strive to work with the different members in our catchment area. I hope you found this to be helpful.